Hey, I want to do a short video here on driving for dollars or driving for deals, and I've got just a little bit of time and want to kind of go through that with you and how that works. And what we're doing, we're driving for dollars, driving for deals. We're looking for properties that show some type of distress or neglect. Properties that maybe have weeds, high weeds or grass overgrown, maybe weeds in their flower beds, or shrubbery that's overgrown, trees overhanging. Maybe it's got some damaged wood siding, or maybe it's got gutters that are falling off the house. Just anything that shows distress. And we're going to ride around here. I'm going to show you some different things. It's a great source of leads, and it's one of our best lists that we gather because it's yours exclusively. Nobody else has this list except you. So driving for dollars is one of our best source of lists. So let's go take a look how we do it. Thank you. As I drive, I'm just going to show you a couple things we look for. So I'm driving, we'll down here and just turn around. But I'm looking for properties that, you know, are vacant also. We're not just looking for properties that are overgrown. One of the things also that we look for is mail and mailboxes. Mailboxes overflowing, just any kind of distress. And then what I would do is I would get the address by looking on the mailbox. You know, you may back up like I'm doing. Look on the mailbox, look on the post. You may have partial numbers, you may have full numbers, but just looking just to find the address. And I'm going over here to look and see if I can see this address a little bit better. And then I'm going to compare it to addresses around to see what addresses are around to make sure it's the right address. Hey, I pulled over here. One thing as we get going here on driving for dollars, anytime I'm in an area, I keep up with it on a just a notebook. There's apps you can use, but I keep it on a notebook as I go. For me, it's faster. Apps may be faster for some folks, but I use a notebook. I keep it with me all the time. I'm driving for dollars in a variety of places, so I kind of do it as I go. So if you're going to the grocery, you're going to church, you're going to shop, or wherever you're going, kind of do it along the way. And anytime you're going to look at a property, always drive that area and just write down addresses. So I write the zip code at the top of the page and the date. Also, when I turn on a street, okay, I always make sure I write the name of the street, and make sure you put whether it's court, lane, circle, drive, place, etc. Make sure you do that. And then all you do below that is just write down addresses. Let's go see what we can find. As I go, I'm looking for specific things. I'm looking for deteriorated property, like overgrown trees, for instance, overgrown bushes, notes on doors. Okay, you get in a busy area, you got to pull over a bunch. So I'm pulling over right now. Let's look at this one. All right, as I drive, I'm backing up, looking at this property. We're driving for dollars, and this one looks to be in disrepair. So I'm looking for an address. I don't see one on the mailbox. Okay, I do know. When I look, I mean, you got pine straw on the roof, you got deterioration in the front, you got vines overgrowing here. You also, when you move up, you've got deterioration of wood. You see tarp on the roof. Very good sign or indication that this is definitely a distressed property. So we want to get this address. So the way to do it, if you can't find the address on the property, you can go to the next house and see that address, and then the one after, because you want to see the sequence in which the numbers are running. What's the amount of numbers in between? So if this is let's say this is 1114, the next house 1116, 1118, it's in sequences of 2. Compared to if it's 1104 and the next one is 1110 and the next one is 1116, it's in sequences of 6. So you need to know that to try to determine the address of the property. You can also look across the street and kind of get the addresses of the property across the street, which we'll do here in just a second, to try to get a general idea of what the address is. And then we'll show you how to look it up when we get back. But so I look across the street and find an address. This is a busy street, but I'm gonna look across the street and around to try to find the address or get a general area, and we can look the property up from there. But this is a good sign of a good-looking, potentially good-looking property, but it's distressed definitely. So let's move on. So again, as I'm riding, and I hope you can see this, I'm just looking for distressed properties, and all I'm gonna do, I got the street name, whether it's road, lane, etc. I have the zip code at the top of the page, the date. I'm just looking for properties that show distress, and all I'm doing is writing the number down and moving on. So you look for tarps on top of properties, on top of roofs. You look for overgrown properties, etc. And if there's a question of whether it could be distressed or not, I always write it down. Another potential, you got broken fence. We'll get that address also. That's a potential house there. You got broken down fence, weeds everywhere, overgrown shrubbery. That could be another good potential. So let's move on. Again, as you stop at stop signs, you get ready to turn, make sure you write down the street name and road, lane, etc. So you, at that point, all you gotta do is write down addresses. So let's roll on here. Here's another potential. It's got a lot of overgrowth. You can see this situation. It's got a car in the drive, so I'm not gonna show you the car, but it's got a lot of, it's something we definitely write down this address. So it's another example of one you can write down. Here's another property that looks distressed. All the windows have dark cover over them. It's got a newer roof, but I would definitely write this one down. You also see no mailbox. So again, you got to find the address. You look across the street, look at the property next door, or 2 doors down, and determine what the address is based on a sequence of numbers. The 509 right there. Make sure you get the street name and whether it's place, drive, circle, etc. So there's a couple potentials right there. Let's move on and find the next one. Another thing to look for as you're driving is for sale by owner or for rent by owner. You can tell this is not a company, this is an owner. Sometimes owners are tired of being landlords. So it's another good sign. I'd call that definitely. Also, you can look for properties that have a bunch of clean out on the street. Looks like they have mattresses and chests and just a bunch of stuff on the street where the property's been cleaned out. It's another good sign. That could be a tired landlord. Coming up on another potential property. Looks like it has an old abandoned car there. This is a good neighborhood. But this is a potential, so we get the address and find out what's going on with this one. Here's one we're pulling up to that appears to be vacant. So I'd write this down. Looks like a rental. Looks like it's been redone. You got a newer roof, newer mailbox. But this is a potential rental. It looks vacant. So we'd go ahead and write this down, call the owner and see if they had an interest in selling, or text them or email them or get in touch with them. There's another one, tarp on a roof. Another sign, get that address, write it down. Could be distressed. Right beside it, here's one looks to be vacant. Get that number. Here's one we're coming up on. Appears to be vacant. You definitely write this address down, add it to your list. Appears to be vacant. Definitely write it down, add it to your list. Coming up on another house here that is definitely overgrown. Here's another example of one I would write down. It's a good area we're in. People are flipping a lot of houses in this area, but that's definitely one I would write down. Here's another example of one that's grown up. Someone may be living there, I don't know how, possibly. But that's a good example of one we'd write down. Here's one we'd write down. You see peeling paint. Needs shutters, needs a lot. It's definitely one we'd write down. Hey, we've got several now. I've shown you several examples. We've ridden around just a couple different neighborhoods just for probably 20 or 30 minutes and probably have 20 or so leads. But it's a great way to do. You want to do it as you go. Do it as you go. Get in the habit of just keeping a notebook with you and just write them down as you go, and just you continue to add to your driving for dollars list. It'll be one of the best lists that you have. Make sure you do it as you go.